don't do distraction. I'm coming back.
Oh man, we back at it again. Yo, what it do? It's your boys Juice and Lou. We back here with another banger for y'all, man. ESPN gets blasted for disrespecting Kobe Bryant, Kobe Bean. Come on, man. Nice little 10-minute video. We gotta see what they talk about. So let's dive right in. Let's do it.
When it comes to the so-called top ESPN talent, I always do find it pretty fascinating seeing how these so-called experts rank players all time, as the majority of the time, these guys who should be held to a higher standard have massive double standards, are hypocrites when it comes to their top 10 players of all time lists. And look, when ranking players, everyone has their own criteria, preference, standards, and so on. But looking at Stephen A. Smith's recent top 5 list, there are some massive double standards in this list, as one guy who's in the top 5 list isn't held to the same standard as a player who supposedly isn't top 5.
A lot of people out there was asking why not Kobe Bryant. Love Kobe to death, miss him to death. Here's the deal. Kobe Bryant was number 2 to Jordan, number 1, and number 2, he's not the greatest Laker of all time. He's not. 3 of those titles came with Shaq in his prime. Pick one, sir.
So stopping it right there, did you guys catch that? Stephen A. Smith's logic for Kobe not being top 5 is due to 3 championships he won with Shaquille O'Neal being the best player. Now, why that's kind of odd, because in the exact same list, you have Magic and Kareem. And to my knowledge, Magic won all 5 of his championships with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That is a massive hole in...
He kind of like, that's kind of bad.
I mean, for Magic, I think it's... But at least Magic wasn't in his prime when he was getting the rings. Kareem wasn't. Kareem just wasn't the guy. So I think Kareem should be lower. Magic makes sense to be up there. You could argue Magic is the greatest Laker and things of that nature, but Kareem, nah, fam. Nah, I got Kobe over Kareem.
Bill Russell played with like 10 Hall of Famers on the same team with all them rings. Why we not saying the same thing for Bill Russell? Or is it because of what he did off the court? Is why he top 5.
Kobe did a lot off the court though in China.
Everybody did a lot off the court if we being technical.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't play into everything. Like Kareem. Kareem is top 3 in most of people's list because of what he did before he got in the league. Yeah. Okay, I get you was dominant in high school and college, but this is not the high school college Hall of Fame. This is the NBA Hall of Fame. So I don't know.
It is the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Or NBA Basketball Hall of Fame. But are we going based off college and high school? No.
Not this was. No.
So
in Stephen A. Smith's logic. And one more thing I did notice, Stephen A. Smith said Kobe supposedly can't be top 5 because MJ is the best shooting guard. Kind of implying on a top 5 list, you can't have 2 players in the same position in that top 5. But here's the thing. At the exact same moment he says that, he has Bill Russell and Kareem, 2 centers, in the top 5. The overall hypocrisy couldn't be more blatant. And for someone to...
It makes sense.
it's tough. Man.
Then by that logic, Tim Duncan got to be there. He's probably the best power forward. You want to do positions mattering?
Stephen A. Smith's age being what, early 50s, who covered Kobe his entire career. For him to have this take about Kobe is downright shameful. And look, you can debate Kobe, Magic, Kareem all day. But what I'm attacking in this video is Stephen A. Smith's logic, not the overall ranking. As looking at Kobe in 2000, 01, and 2, yes, I'll admit he was playing second fiddle to Shaquille O'Neal. But despite that, Kobe, for all 3 of those championships, was a top 10 player, sometimes top 5, the Lakers' best clutch time player, closer, and their best defensive player on the court. And if you look at the overall numbers in the dead ball era, the slow-paced early 2000s, this guy still averaged 25.3 points, 5.7 boards, and 5 assists on 45, 35, and 78 splits. In that 3-year period, Kobe ranked 7th in scoring, 10th in steals, and 2nd in defensive win shares. Not too shabby for a guy who was in his early 20s and supposedly getting carried by the Big Diesel. And if you want to compare Kobe's 5 championships versus Kareem's 6 and Magic's 5, I would argue Kobe's 5 actually are more valuable than those titles, because Kobe on every single team was at worst a top 2 player, and for those last 2 titles was by far his team's best player, compared to guys like Kareem and Magic, who not for every title was their best player, second best player, or even third best player. And the age-old talking point that Kobe was riding Shaq's coattails, that same energy never is applied to Kareem. As looking at Kareem's last 3 championships, 3 titles that were vital to his legacy, he only averaged 19.8 points, 6.7 boards, 2.3 assists, 1.7 blocks on 52% shooting. Now look, still pretty great stats for an average NBA player, but for a super...
Come on, fool. Be real, bro. Come on, bro. Pretty great stats, bro. Come on, be real, bro. Bro, come on. Keldon Johnson averages this without the blocks, probably. Come on now. Keldon Johnson probably averages this nowadays.
Yo. Yo.
Julius Randle would have been better than Kareem back then with his stats. Why was I going? Pascal Siakam?
Shoot, Paulo could have been a GOAT.
Paulo
could have been a GOAT.
Franz Wagner without the blocks?
Both
Sheesh.
Wagner brothers.
It's crazy, man.
Superstar standards, not really Shaq Kobe type numbers. And one thing I do want to highlight, Kareem's last championship in 1988, that 6th championship that tied him with Jordan, gives him more than Kobe.
Harry.
On that championship, he ranked 4th in scoring on his own Lakers team. My overall point being, just counting rings 1, 2, 3, 4 with zero context is a terrible way to go about rankings. And even looking at Magic Johnson, for his first 3 championships, compared to Kobe, he had some subpar series with Lakers, still won the title. I mean, look at 1980 Magic. Yes, he won the MVP, but why he won it because Kareem was hurt and they didn't want to give the award to an injured player. 1982, out of the entire series versus Philadelphia, he ranked 7th in series in points per game. And in 85, ranked 5th on his team in overall scoring. And again, the big elephant in the room for Magic Johnson, he had Kareem for all 5 championships compared to Kobe, who only had Shaq for the first 3. And look, Shannon Sharp this week has been on an absolute roll, and in real time called out Stephen A. Smith for the blatant hypocrisy.
I mean, honey,
Okay.
but they say the argument that you use for Shaq and Kobe, why don't you use it for Kareem and Magic?
Well, that's a lengthy
All I
conversation.
know is
Okay.
this: the coaches.
Now look, Stephen A. Smith right here 100%.
Bro knew he was wrong.
Yo.
Bro, talking about that's a lengthy conversation.
That's a lengthy conversation. No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
got caught with his pants down. And it's kind of deflection of, well, we can discuss that later, it's a really in-depth conversation, we won't do that right now. That's 100% deflection after getting called out, as I highly doubt this guy has a solid, foolproof argument as to why Kobe winning with Shaq isn't the same as Magic winning with Kareem. And I think for most Kobe fans, most Lakers fans, the vital point of the Mamba's career was 08 to 2010, as quite literally, that's the point where Kobe separated himself from Shaquille O'Neal. And if you're comparing Magic versus Kobe, that distinction is pretty stark, as Kobe's overall level of play on both ends of the court those 3 years was higher than Magic Johnson ever had, averaging 29.8 points per game, 5.7 boards, 5.5 assists on 46, 34, and 85 splits. And Kobe's Lakers team those 3 years, they beat a total of 8 50-win teams. For Magic's entire 12-year career, he beat a total of 8 50-win teams. So things like competition, two-way impact, those things also matter in these debates when ranking players. Because again, just looking at championship rings doesn't tell the full story. And like I alluded to, scoring and defense, in my personal opinion, are the two most important traits for a basketball player. And comparing Kobe versus Magic straight up, scoring-wise, Kobe was a light years better scorer, more skilled, peaked out averaging 35 points per game, had 81-point games, 60-point games, numerous 50-point games. And the overall gap in defensive ability is even bigger than the scoring gap, as Magic not once his career was a lockdown defender, guarding teams' number one options. Magic never was really playing lockdown defense, and primarily was only good for his height, compared to Kobe, who routinely was first team all defense, on his first repeat was a top 5 defender in the NBA, and then later on, still all defensive level player. And last but not least, the overall competition aspect combined with teammate help heavily favors Kobe, as Magic had numerous All-Stars Hall of Famers on every single roster. And these Hall of Famers, they weren't guys who were past their prime out of their prime. They were prime Hall of Famers and prime All-Stars. From Kareem, Nixon, Wilkes, James Worthy, to Michael Cooper and Byron Scott. In Kobe's career, it was basically Shaq and Powell as 2-star teammates and all-star pieces. And look, I'm not trying to diss Magic as a player. With my personal list, both Magic, Kobe, and Kareem are all top 5. But if you want to talk player for player, prime for prime, even peak for peak, I would say Kobe definitively was better than Magic in all those aspects. And Kobe's best championship, his best overall season in my opinion, was 2009. As the Lakers that year, they won 65 games in a loaded West. They were a top 6 defense, top 3 offense, and Kobe once again was an all-league defender. And very important, in the NBA playoffs, the teams they beat, the 48-win Jazz, 53-win Rockets, 54-win Nuggets, and the Magic, who nearly won 60 games. And the finals versus Orlando had his best final series of his career, averaging 32 points, along with 7 assists, and no teammate above 20 points per game. The overall case for Kobe being ahead of Magic can definitely be made. And on the flip side, the case for Magic over Kobe also can be made. My overall problem though is Stephen A. Smith's logic for having Magic in his top 5 and Kobe not. So that right there is the end of the video. Once again, props to Shannon Sharp for calling out Stephen A. Smith and his blatant.
Oh
man,
yeah, that's nasty work, Stephen A. But we all know ESPN is going down the drain. They're losing all credibility. We all know that they're losing credibility. So they just try and say stuff to stir up the pot to get people to watch, to get clicks. I understand. I get it. Because there's no way on earth Kobe shouldn't be top 5 because of his teammates, when 2 teammates that played together for years and won multiple championships together are in your top 5. That's just crazy. That's just crazy.
I would say though, they are wrong though, saying Kobe only had Powell and Shaq as also those teams he had were solid, like role.
I mean, he's just going with his Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I know Hall of Famers and stuff, but he still had a good overall team.
Yeah, they definitely had a good squad.
Kobe was the guy though,
yeah,
and obviously he couldn't be stopped.
They definitely had that guy for sure.
But you already know what I got Kobe. He up there like top 3 for me. Top 3 of my GOAT list. So, man, hey man, they like Justin said. I mean, they're probably just doing it for clicks and baits, man.
That's all it is.
Because there's just no way Stephen had talk about. That's a long controversial conversation. We
got caught in his own lie or his own mess or whatever you want to call it, man. But hey, y'all let us know what you guys think down below. Did they disrespect Kobe in this video? I think they did. Where is Kobe on y'all's all-time list? Yeah, let us know, man. But hey, until the next video, it's your boys Juice and Lou, and we out of here. Peace.
Or Michael Jordan, Phil LeBron shoes. The impact that he's had with different